This is the new normal of traveling. The hottest hotspots are popping. And the bottles of alcohol are flowing. Who's ready to check in? Welcome to paradise.
Good morning, ate! Meron ba kayo?
That we do.
Taray!
Each guest is entitled to a complimentary sanitation kit. Accommodations are by reservation only. Walk-ins will not be entertained.
Huh? Ano daw?
Very good.
Meanwhile, we will do what we can to keep the hotel immaculate.
Automatic oh.
Please step on the circles. Aba, nakaapak naman ako ng tama sa bilog.
Uy, Doy, bakit hindi pa napaandar?
Shiny! So, this is a corner suite?
Sa third floor po kayo, ma'am, sir. Third floor, please. Uy, bakit kaya? Tanungin mo yung driver.
What? It gets better?
Enjoy your stay, people!
Travel safe!
Mabuhay!
Pag naglalakbay.
Have a safe trip with us!
The Philippines is being called Asia's rising tiger. But what exactly does this mean? Posting a GDP growth of 6.7% in 2017, the country has one of the fastest growing economies in the world, expanding at a rate unseen in the last 5 decades. The good news is, it's just getting started. The better news is that we have designed a brand new city to be the nucleus of this economic renaissance. Less than 1 hour from the capital, Manila, straddled by hills and blessed with tropical climate all year long, we are building the city of the future, a landmark development twice the size of Manhattan. Originally developed by the Americans for its secure and strategic location in Asia Pacific, Clark is being transformed into a disaster-resilient metropolis that will be competitive and attractive to a global market. It will consist of 4 main districts. The Clark Freeport Zone, an existing mixed-use complex established in the 90s. Clark Global City, which will serve as the primary business district. And New Clark City, which will house satellite government offices and a first-class sports village. Central to all of this is Clark International Airport, which will soon be expanded to accommodate up to 80 million passengers a year. This ensures that travel will be comfortable while trade is seamless. A city unmatched in connectivity, with access to world-class highways and the service of high-speed railways, connecting north to south and east to west, across surrounding seas and over oceans. Clark is a city built as living proof that business in this part of the world is not only easy, but simply better. With no red tape, lower taxes, and endless investment opportunities. This is a city prepared to attract talent so that the country's best and brightest will come here to work and choose to call this place home. Because this is a city that knows how to play, where you can unwind at your own speed, where safety is paramount, and people always come first. This is a city where history and culture thrive, where modern conveniences meet timeless traditions, and progress is driven by passion. This is a city with limitless ambition that may someday find itself among the great cities of the world, built for business so that time is always well spent, and built for people so that life is always well lived. This is Clark.
Hello, everyone. So again, thank you for tuning in. And of course, I'm happy to announce as well that the Think Smarter by Joe Solas is going to air in EXP TV as well and to be published in Experience Travel and Living magazine. So quarterly, you'll see all my columns. And I want to thank all my colleagues and, of course, friends in the hotel and tourism industry because we are doing this in order to feature and uplift as well the confidence of our tourists during the new normal. So without further ado, because this particular episode that we're having right now it's different because it's not a hotel property alone. It's not just a particular, let's just say a simple, we're talking about rooms or let's just say a theme park, but it's actually more of a city or a location. And I really wanted, and I'm so excited as well to have our guest for today. It's because it is dubbed as the city of the future. And as you have seen and watched the TVC earlier, a lot of people have been talking about what is Clark City. And of course, that more information will be provided to us by no less than our friend from Ms. Noemi Julian, Manager, Tourism Promotions, Division Clark Development Corporation, or CDC. So, hello, Ms. Noemi.
Hi, Joff.
Nako.
Afternoon. Long time no see.
Oh, ma'am, thank you so much again. Ano ba to? Kasi syempre, kinapalan ko na rin talaga yung CDC is always special part of me. And as I mentioned to my colleagues, those who have been following me on my website, this is joffsolas.com, and my Facebook page in Joff Solas. So actually, itong mga interview portion ko, it's a sheer and independent, we call it initiative, because nakita naman natin, di ba, Ms. Noemi, of course, it goes across the industries, particularly the tourism, pero domino effect talaga yan eh. And with the Clark Development Corporation, you have a lot of properties talaga and locators. Yung locators, to my audience, ito yung mga business enterprises or companies who are located in a particular, let's just say, in this case, city, which is Clark. And people have been very curious about this, no, Ms. Noemi, kasi even yung mga big realtors are putting their stake in this Clark City. Ms. Noemi, can you tell us more briefly about what is Clark City all about?
Okay. Just to give you a perspective, okay, Clark is composed of different zones. Okay, where we are right now, this is Clark Freeport Zone. Okay? This is they call it main zone. And then there's also the subzone, and within the subzone area, that's the hilly portion of Clark. That's where the new Clark City is. So the Clark main zone is within the Pampanga area, while the new Clark City is within the Tarlac area. But it's all part of Clark. Okay, so it's subdivided. Okay, so Clark main zone is probably around 15 to 20 minutes from New Clark City. So yeah, New Clark City is where you see the stadium, no? The aquatics, athletic stadium. Once the facilities used by the SEA Games, diba? But also in the main zone naman, we also use some facilities like parade grounds was used as archery and rugby area, no? So ganun ang Clark. If you're going to total the dimension or the area, siguro around 33,000 hectares total. That's a total. But what is known right now to the people commonly is the main zone. It's where the Hilton Hotel, the Marriott Hotel, and all the hotels are, diba? It's where the Aqua Planet is. Well, that's just a portion of Clark. Okay. So main zone is even subdivided into two. The main zone is divided into aviation and commercial mixed use. So ganun siya, no? Ganun siya kalaki.
Oh. Kasi ma'am, pag sinabi
when we
talagang
talk about Clark City, that's a
Sige ma'am, kasi
Diba? When you talk of Clark
sorry
City,
to cut you in sorry for that. Kasi when people are talking about Clark City, unang naiisip agad nila, ito yung air base. Diba? And the facilities there, the roads are wide, built by the American time. And for those people who have been looking, or let's say, nabalitaan na rin naman nila na ang yung commute time from Metro Manila to Clark is actually very fast. It's less than an hour through NLEX, di ba, ma'am?
yes. And also, we have the centerpiece of development, of course, the airport, diba? It's going to be operational, the new terminal, okay, which will have the double capacity from 4,000 to 8,000 per day. So it's going to be operational within the year. Okay, that's the new terminal. So all the infrastructure, the connectivity, no, including the Malolos Clark Railway, I think is already being done. No?
Yes.
It started already. So all of this actually is connected to Clark, diba? And we also have exits, diba? Connecting us to Subic and Tarlac naman, to the north. No? So, yung sinasabi mo kanina that they see Clark as former military prison, that's true naman talaga. It used to be the largest U.S. military facility outside of the U.S. Main. But it was already reverted to civilian use, diba? After the Pinatubo Round. So, now it's no longer Clark Field, it's no longer Clark Air Base. Kasi ang daming misconception eh. Clark Field yan. Clark Air Base, diba? Ganon. It's no longer that. We only refer to Clark as either Clark, diba? Diba? Or Clark Airport. That's it.
I see. And actually, what you mentioned earlier, lahat ng mga projects, and just imagine, no, I was informed that the new international airport in Clark is estimated to be like twice or 4 times bigger than the NAIA.
Yes, the capacity is bigger.
Yun.
Yes, double nga eh. Yung existing kasi is, I think 4 million, di 4,000. 4 million. So now, they're expecting 8 million passengers.
Wow. And yun nga yung especially na-test na rin kasing area na yan, particularly during the SEA Games, diba, when we were accommodating all of the athletes international. Tapos, of course, this event, and unfortunate yung sa pandemic, pero kasi nakita namin, tinanong ko nga kayo, Miss Noemi, ba kayo? Nag-lockdown, quarantine, o ano ba? How was it nung nag-declare ng quarantine and lockdown?
Kami hindi. Actually, we're lockdown naman for all yun eh. I think when during the ECQ, diba? So during the enhanced community quarantine, CDC as an office was open because we have 1,200 locators, and of course for the manufacturing firms during that time, they had to continue operation, diba? Kasi hindi pwedeng mag-stop ang operation, especially if it's manufacturing. So CDC had to really, operate. Kami, sometimes we're also called, the management were also called for MANCO meetings face-to-face, no, with some social distancing and all. So we still follow that, but we never stopped operation. We never closed. Ganun din yung mga hotels natin dito. They never closed because during the ECQ, kasi ang mga manufacturing firms, they're still operating at the time. I think at 50%, no, during ECQ. So they're allowed to operate, but their employees have to be fetched, okay, ferried to and from, ganon. So sa kanila kasi mas expensive yon. So they opted to house their employees here inside Clark in our hotels. So our hotels actually never closed also. They continued operation. They actually catered to employees of Clark locators. I think more than 2,000 employees were housed inside Clark during ECQ. Ganun siya. So hindi talaga nag-stop. We never closed.
And ma'am, actually, very ideal, and I would like to congratulate as well the CDC and the whole BCDA group as well for managing, diba, the pandemic in the area. As you have mentioned, well, we know already what's happening in the key cities of Metro Manila, pero as you have mentioned, nag-operate pa rin yung mga hotels ninyo and factories just because you wanted to maintain the operations and the supplies as well, lalo sa mga demands, diba, for the distribution, mga essential workers, no? Ma'am,
Right.
in this particular case ngayon, we call it new normal. And there are more properties or commercial businesses that are going to open soon in Clark. Okay. If I am a businessman, how will I continue or how will I be able to apply my business para pumasok dyan sa Clark? Kasi ang ganda talaga ng feedback, no? Lalo na pag lalong time na to na, may international airport, tapos nabanggit dati, gagawin siyang logistics hub, diba?
Well, if you want to locate in Clark, there's a process that's being followed. First, of course, is you have to send a letter of intent, diba? So that letter of intent should be addressed to our president, something like that. No? There's also a website that they can download forms from, like if they want to.
Tama ba ito, ma'am, yung fina-flash ko? clark.com.ph.
Yes, that's the website. So if they want to locate in Clark, they want to invest in Clark, they can go to that website and they can see all the requirements there, including the meron pa nga sample yan the sample letter of intent. So just to make it easier for them to invest or to locate here. Diba?
Mm-mm. And by the way, since we mentioned about the whole team of CDC and BCDA, I also would like to congratulate the new CDC President and CEO, Mr. Manuel Garlan, and our CDC Chairman, Attorney Ed Pamintuan. And ma'am, because you're doing the promotions of CDC, I'm sure you're getting a lot of applications kasi ang ganda ng promotions and then, the confidence boosting as well. For this particular summer, tulad niyan, people are still contemplating or still waiting for the vaccination programs. Ano yung mga maganda nating puntahan dyan sa CDC?
Well, one good thing about Clark is that we have so many open spaces, diba? And the good thing about open spaces, it's allowed, no, for people to go to. Kasi of course we have to follow the IATF guidelines, diba? There was a period when small gatherings were not allowed, diba? Ganon, no? But now that gradually our economy and our tourism are finally, starting to operate and starting to open up, I think one of the main attractions or main advantage of Clark is that the open spaces are, conducive for picnic goers. In fact, I don't know if you've been here. I think you were here last weekend.
Last Saturday, yes, ma'am.
It starts on Friday, no? On Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays, our 22 hectares parade grounds. Imagine how huge the parade ground is. It's jam-packed with people. It's full of people. Surprisingly for us, we didn't realize that, ganun na kaano yung mga tao to go out. Really, they really would like to go out. No? I think aside from going out, also in their minds, mas safe, diba? It's safer to go to open spaces, diba? So probably that's the reason why our Clark Parade Grounds became very successful and became very popular nowadays, no? Especially the new normal. Makikita mo naman talaga yung mga families, no? Ang ginagawa nila sila mismo nag-social distancing, diba? So this family is here, tapos medyo a little bit farther, mayroong isang kumpol ng family. So we were surprised that the 22-hectare parade ground was, full, diba? Especially during weekends. So ganun siya. I think yun ang strength din naman nung having, open spaces like this, no? Huge grounds.
Saka napansin ko doon, Ma'am Miss Noemi, kasi nung punta ko nga ako ng Saturday dyan, napansin ko, meron na kayong mga sound system na tumutugtog doon sa open grounds. And syempre, yun nga. So if you're really looking for an outdoor, kasi sabi nga sa IATF and even the Global World Health Organization are telling everybody, get exposed to the sun. Kasi syempre, still is going to boost the immunity and then go to an open space kasi lalo na yung air circulation. Tapos, ang kagandahan pa dyan, you mentioned earlier nga, yung the commercial center at Mangan Tamo, they're also open from 3 p.m. onwards until 12 midnight. And then they're providing yung mga local delicacies and interesting in mga ano pa to, mga uh, food na minsan kilala talaga yung Pampanga, syempre. And of course, other local and international. Last time na nakita ko may takoyaki, may Korean. And these are really affordable. So, yun. And nakita ko yung Clark Museum. Yun nga, kasi lalo na, ma'am, active yung ano natin, no? Yung 4D theater.
Yes. We started operating what was that? Last February? Oo, yata. Parang ganun. So, wanted to to gradually open, no? Siyempre, of course, we're still following the guidelines of IATF. If the IATF says, oh, you can operate already or can open the museums, galleries, etc., the gyms, spas, but only at 50% capacity. So we will still follow the same. Okay? So the same thing with Mangantamu. Since Mangantamu opened up 2 weeks ago, we actually made sure with Commercial Central, the group, that they need to follow the 50% capacity still because that has not been lifted by IATF, diba? So it's still the same guidelines that we're following. And also, of course, yung mga contactless, contact tracing, diba? Mga touchless points, touch points, you have to sanitize, etc., etc. So all of these things have to be followed pa rin, no? Even if you open up. It's a balancing act. That's the work of the government, diba? And in this case, CDC for Clark, we have to balance it. We have to balance the economy. We have to balance the safety of the people, diba? Coming to Clark, especially for tourism, for the guests. We cannot have our hotels stop operating because, syempre, diba? We don't want the business to die, diba? We want them to continue and be sustainable. At the same time, we need also the hotels to strictly follow the guidelines of IATF so that our hotel guests will be safe. Also, will still feel safe. Diba? So, ganun. Mahirap din ang balance.
Kaya naman, ma'am, kanina pinilay ko nga yung campaign ng Department of Tourism, yung Travel Safe Pinas. So, it looks fun at makita talaga mag-gain ng confidence. Kasi like you've said, everybody's now complying to the IATF policies. Tapos yung nga sasabi, may complementary sanitary kit. Tapos yung contact tracing. Tapos meron pa yung may logbook, may body temperature scanners. Yun. Ma'am, question. Kasi, the whole Central Luzon naman kasi is MGCQ. However, kasi syempre Manila, we're still waiting pa kung ano yung declaration. Pero meron mga bulong-bulungan na rin. If ever ba, ma'am, when they go to Clark, meron ba itong mga quarantine days? Meron ba akong kailangan magpa-anti-rapid test para lang pumunta ako doon sa mga establishment or hotels ng Clark?
Okay. We have a guidelines for that. If you're staying only overnight or less than 3 nights, okay? Less than 3 days, you're not required to have your RT-PCR test or antigen test. But if you're staying here for more than 3 days, then you will be required to present that. Kasi ang namin, of course, our hotels are ailing, di ba? The industry, especially tourism industry, di ba? It's been badly hit by this, no? I think for all the sectors, this is the most affected by this pandemic. So, in order to help the hotels, kasi naman sa GCQ, they're allowed staycation, di ba? So, in our case, what we did, we sent out a memo circular to all our hotels that, you can start receiving guests for staycation following the guidelines that we set. Okay, so yung guidelines na sinasabi ko, like, they will present health declaration. Well, yung health declaration kasi, the hotels, they have that already, di ba? Prior to coming to the hotel, kailangan may prior booking ka, di ba? May mga ganon, So you have to have those. There's a specific guidance that we send to the hotels. Plus, of course, they cannot operate at the same, both for quarantine and for staycation or for leisure. It has to be either you're a quarantine or a leisure facility. So hindi sila pwede magsama. Pero There's nothing, you don't need to show your ID at the gates, Anybody can come to
Oo.
Clark.
Oo. Kasi I just wanted also to clarify as well to the viewers. Baka sabihin nila, baka pagpasok ko ng Clark, biglang sundutin yung ilong ko or what, lahat sila biglang kunan ng antigen. So they don't have to, kasi ma'am, di ba may fee kasi yan eh. So, basta sa inyo, okay siya. As long as they're not going to stay longer than 3 days or 3 nights. Ma'am, question. Kasi yan, masyado tayong business na rin eh. Ito bang quarantine, something personal naman tayo. What did you realize, lalo na itong pandemic, yung nag-lockdown? Ano ba? Meron pa ba kayong lockdown dyan? Umuwi ba kayo ng bahay?
Well, one thing I realized, ako personally, that's a personal question, right? Okay, so personally, I realized, kasi in tourism, di ba, postura ka most of the time. When you go out, you go to the office, di ba, you're all made up, di ba? Even your dresses. One thing I realized, pagka may pandemic pala, you don't need all of these things. You don't need jewelry, you don't need, di ba, makeup. Ang makikita lang sa'yo, mata, di ba? So, I realized, you realize now the importance of the necessities in life, di ba? Yung mga necessities, yung mga wants hindi pala masyado, di ba? Ang kailangan mo lang food, di ba?
Oo. Tama.
Tapos yung ganun lang, di ba? But you don't need really to buy a lot of accessories, etc. That's one thing that I realized. Parang kahit nga siguro parang 5 lang yung damit mo, pwede na. Parang ganon. I mean, that's going to diba? So,
alam ko Ma'am Noemi, 'di ba? Si Habi magaling magluto. Kayo ba nag-try ka rin na magluto ka rin or naging plantita ka ba? Kasi syempre Clark is so green.
Yes.
Diba?
In terms of cooking kasi, we're both cooks eh. So I also studied cooking. So yun ang common denominator namin. So in terms of cooking, we experimented, yes, but I think I was able to cook a lot, diba, during the pandemic. Kasi nga nasa bahay ka lang. So isip ka, ano ba pwedeng, kasi hindi ka naman pwedeng lumabas eh. You cannot eat in the restaurants at the time. So you have to invent kasi every day nandun ka. Pare-pareho ba kakainin mo sa isang. You have to come up with different recipes, menus every time. And
anong favorites, specialty? Anong specialty ni Miss Noemi?
Ako, well, hindi naman sa pero I cook beef bourguignon.
Wow.
And, I partner with potato au gratin para kompleto.
Nice.
On the side.
Ang social. Siyempre, di ba in that area? Kasi di ba sa area na yan, magaling magluto lahat, di ba?
Yes. Nakaka-intimidate dito if you're not a good cook. Di ba?
Meron bang meron ka bang, so in short, the whole quarantine paved the way for you to have more me time, no? Kasi napaka-busy niyo, Miss Noemi eh. So, sabi ko nga, pati nga weekends.
Yes.
So, ito ma'am, meron ka bang mga, alam mo yung mga siblings or children na who are still studying? How are they adapting with the online class?
Well, fortunately, my kids are already grown up. So, mga mga working class. Working class na yung... Ako na!
Ano lang yan, ma'am? Tawag dito. Working class na. So, ma'am, tulad dito, ma'am, are they moving out or are they going out of the house? Pumapasok sila sa office?
Yeah, my son, actually my second, I have 3. So yung first ko, kakauwi lang from Afghanistan. My second naman, he works in Manila. So every now and then, umuwi siya. Pero the adjustments that we had to do is that, every time, kasi nung time, especially during the ECQ, medyo praning pa yung mga tao nun di ba? Hindi pa sanay na i-handle yun. Di ba? Hindi pa tayo masyadong sanay. So, really, I think naging ritual yon that every time that you go out, you go home, maligo ka, as in, di ba? So, yung mga di ba? These are the things that you have to do, di ba? Na hindi mo ginagawa before, right? So, you have to make some, di ba? Kaya siguro humaba yung buhok.
Wow. Literal, humaba ang buhok. Di ba? Pero, I'm sure na bagay talaga yan, ma'am. Lalo na pag the next time I'll be seeing you in commercial, and particularly in Clark, to visit you as well in your office. I'm really looking forward. Tsaka alam ko kasi parang people right now are really, I would say, anxious, but let's just say it's more of conscious. Diba? People are more self-aware of how to sanitize. Like you've mentioned before, during the lockdown and quarantine, because there's so many information out there, and it causes anxiety. Pero since now we're getting a lot of information, we know the right people or agencies to trust. So, yun yung kagandahan. Anyway, ma'am, ito last na to. And again, thank you. Kasi there are some people, especially the younger people, the younger generation who are taking probably tourism or HRM. Siyempre, nag-online class sila, Miss Noemi, no? Tapos nalaman nila, ang tourism pala hindi essential. So they're somehow discouraged. So what will be your advice to them, especially to these younger people na, first year sila ngayon, siguro 3 or 4 years, pag-graduate nila, doon pala sila makakalabas and papasok na sila sa hotel. So what will be your advice for those people who are joining tourism as an industry?
Okay. Well, incidentally, I teach tourism in Mabalacat City College. So, I noticed marami pa rin naman actually. Marami pa rin students. There are so many students wanting to enroll in tourism. Siguro ang isipin lang natin that this is a temporary situation. Okay? Of course, right now we feel that there's still this pandemic, di ba? And they're saying that it's going to last for another 1 or 2 years. No? But we have to understand that this is, same as the flu before, di ba? Dati siguro the flu has no, it was ang tawag dito, it was also a pandemic during that time, di ba? The simple flu. No? But it became regular kasi nasanay na yung mga tao. And we had already vaccinations, etc. for that. So the same thing with this, the pandemic is just a temporary thing, di ba? So it will last for 1, 2 years, and after this, things will be back to normal. So if you're into tourism, I think that's the next best thing for the Philippines, the industry, the tourism industry. For Clark kasi especially, that's what actually we're aiming for. Even before the pandemic, we were thinking of Clark being the center for MICE, center for sports, tourism, etc. It hasn't changed. It's still the same as we speak. So still our focus is that, because we know that, eventually it's gonna end, and eventually you will see the airport still operating, because that's not gonna stop, diba? The airport will operate, the hotel industry will still operate, diba? And even the attractions will. Ngayon nga, I think gradually we're already opening the tourism industry, diba? So I think there's still a chance. Okay, there's a big chance that tourism will be the next biggest industry in the Philippines. So hindi lang sa Philippines, of course, even abroad, diba? So you
Saka ma'am, nakita ko nga, ang gagaling na, of course, the team are really that, it was very, very critical kasi to operate during the quarantine, the ECQ and the lockdown. And like you've mentioned, tuloy-tuloy lang talaga, the CDC, the BCDA. Nakita ko sa Facebook page ng Clark Development Corporation. So guys, please follow that, Clark Development Corporation Facebook page. Kasi nakita ko you have been coordinating as well to the governors of Pampanga, diba? Sina Governor Delta, tapos also for the Tarlac, the Governor Yap. And kasi sabi nga ninyo, the Clark is in the boundaries of Pampanga and then Clark, di ba, ma'am? And of course, the whole everything that we're doing right now with the Clark is tama to, parang it's the next mega city. It's the city of the future. And at the same time, people are encouraged to, syempre, look at Central Luzon, lalo na sa mga business nila, investments. So again, Ms. Noemi, thank you so much for your time, for your, naman, buti lang laging fresh si Ms. Noemi. And again, this is something that we wanted to share to our audience and to everyone. Like I mentioned, this is also available in podcast thanks to Anchor FM. So it will be in iTunes and Spotify. And in a couple of days as well, it will be available in EXP TV and Experience Travel Living Magazine. So, iba na kasi ma'am, di ba ma'am, Noemi, online na eh. So, mga natin, correspondence. Yan.
Oo, yan yung sa mga changes na nakita natin during the ECQ and MGCQ, di ba? That everything is, happening online, di ba? Even our meetings, di ba? It happens online.
Oo.
Our meetings,
at nga pala,
Zoom, di ba? Sumikat yan.
Oh, 5G ang Clark, di ba? Because of Smart. And also you have Converge and Dito, di ba? So we're also looking forward probably with other telcos to build more infrastructures to improve the telecommunications, not just in Clark, but of course in the whole Philippines, di ba ma'am? Kaya nagkakaroon tayo ng mga third players. So again, yes ma'am.
Before I forget, we have a fan page, Facebook page. It's Visit Clark. So if you guys are watching, you can like the page. You can see some of our announcements and activities there. That is one of the things that we advocate also here in Clark is the biking community. Biking is safe in Clark. Yeah, one of the activities also that we promote.
Like I mentioned, kasi yun nga, maraming every morning nga sinasabi sa akin, mayroong mga biking groups dyan na umiikot doon sa Clark Parade Grounds and then they go to, kasi ang laki ng oval ng Clark Parade Grounds and then eventually other destinations maganda siyang puntahan. So again, I think people are now very conscious on how to boost the immunity and again, try to exercise, go outdoors, and since you have a very good space, yun nga, try it out. Maganda yung mayroon pang stereo. Nagulat ako may tumutugtog dun sa Clark Parade Ground. So it's really nice for the families who are doing picnic. Alam mo, yun yung mga bagay na hindi na naging parang siguro, I'm not saying it's like a blessing in disguise, but at the same time, the pandemic also taught us one thing, which is to be closer with our families and loved ones. Diba? So I don't want to be very emotional, no? Pero syempre, that's one thing. I guess, sabi mo nga kanina, the simple stuff ngayon na-realize natin yung value. And yung travel bubble nga, sabi nila, now you're going to travel more with those people who you cherish more, yung intimate relationships mo. So yun. So again, Ma'am Noemi, do you have anything else to invite them? Aside from Visit Clark, yung official fan Facebook page. And yun, of course, I'm flashing as well again, the website, www.clark.com.ph.
There's another website actually. That's a corporate website that you're flashing. There's another website. It's more for tourism. It's www.visitclark.com. So if you're into going to Clark for leisure purposes, then you can check it out. But for regular updates, you can like our FB page.
Ma'am, that's visitclark.com, walang PH?
Yes, walang PH. Yeah, that's our tourism website.
Okay. Sige, papakita ko lang. Yan. So, visitclark.com. Yan, kasabay.
Right.
So, again, we invite everybody, whether it's for business or leisure, visit the corporate account or corporate website, which is the clark.com.ph. Pag tourism, visit clark.com. So anyway, again, thank you so much. Again, guys, you'll catch us every Fridays. Tourism Fridays again is for the Job Solas Facebook page, and this will also be available streaming in YouTube and available podcast, and again with the websites of Experience Travel and Living. So again, guys, thank you and join me again and join us more. Just visit nyo na yung mga page natin sa Clark every Fridays. Okay? And of course, this is Joe Solas again, reminding everyone, think smarter.